What's up, weebs? Welcome back to Anime Lane. I'm your host, Notorious. Joining me once again today is Shaun.
That's me.
And Melina.
Hello.
Still messing me up that it's the other way around today. Today's episode is a bit of a bummer, I guess.
We're going to be talking about this.
No giggles here.
No.
None whatsoever.
Get your ha-has at...
Yeah.
Leave your ha-has at the door.
So about 3 weeks ago at the time of recording, it was announced that the author of Dragon Ball, character designer for Dragon Quest, Chrono Trigger, a whole bunch of other stuff, Akira Toriyama, passed away, which is like, I think more so than any other death I think that could have happened, is probably the one that's had the most response.
Yeah, and the most, like, impact? I'm not sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just on the fact that the BBC covered it, for one.
Yeah, that's a huge thing.
The cartels agreed to ceasefire.
Wait, seriously?
No, genuinely.
Okay.
Anytime Dragon Ball aired, cartel activity went down.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I didn't know that.
The Mexican government received cease and desists when the one of the big episodes of Dragon Ball Super aired because they were holding watch parties. Like massive, like, I mean, like, you can go online and find videos of just like town squares reacting to this fight.
Holy shit.
It's huge in South America, like unbelievably massive.
This is a weird situation, but that's weirdly awesome.
Yeah. Then you've got
wholesome.
Wholesome, weird.
yeah.
I know.
Then you've got Emmanuel Macron, president of France, posting a signed like hand-drawn image from Toriyama, because Dragon Ball, again, you know, like, manga and anime is massive there.
We talked about that, how it's big in France.
Yeah, it's so, you know, I think Dragon Ball is just a huge property.
Yeah,
for,
and it's like when you're, especially if you don't know about anime, if you know any sort of anime, Dragon Ball is going to be one of the ones you know.
It's like, you know, Pokemon is like different level because it's a TCG, it's like video game series, and it's an anime.
Yeah, and most people who aren't like weebs aren't gonna call it an anime. Like, casually, like most people over here would just call it a cartoon.
Yeah.
Whereas Dragon Ball was like, you know, my generation and probably yours as well, Shaun. That was the gateway. That was the thing that you saw, and there was nothing else like it on TV.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it like rings true for you, but for me, like, it would be the gateway, not even necessarily because it was on TV, but because online everyone would talk about it.
I think the thing of like the 4-year difference between us is it's like we didn't have the opportunity for the internet to show us it or show us that gateway. I mean, we didn't have Abridged for a long time growing up. It was purely on the fact that it was on TV constantly. And then obviously your generation would have had, like, on TV, you would have had the advent of the internet.
I will say, for me personally, I never caught on TV because I didn't have the channels that would have had it, because like I didn't have,
I think by the time, I think that would make sense, because it did start to kind of like dwindle on like reruns.
Well, it's not just that, it's the fact I just didn't have those channels at all because of like the TV channels I had. I was stuck on Freeview for most of my childhood, but I knew a lot about Dragon Ball just through osmosis because of like internet, like Newgrounds animations. But that's a throwback.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Newgrounds, YouTube animations, like YouTubers who were like a lot, and usually like a lot of like online gaming spheres would just overlap with Dragon Ball fandoms. So like I would hear references and like memes and stuff that like I didn't understand until like I just learned more about Dragon Ball.
I mean, you got the over 9,000 meme, which was everywhere for a long time.
I remember specifically there was the YouTuber I watched a lot was Some Call Me Johnny. He's like a huge or at least was a huge Dragon Ball fan at the time, and like he would put in references to like his reviews from like Dragon Ball and stuff, and that's where I learned about and this is to go even further beyond, and then it's like like a scream for like a full minute.
Yeah, which almost caused well, I don't know about the Japanese voice actor, but I know there's the story from Shaun Schmel, the English voice actor, where he's like, I had one. Yeah, if I had to retake it, I'd have been done.
Yeah. And look, he fucking nailed it though.
Yeah,
that is a scream.
He does, because I remember it's him I think it's like a video commentary. He's like watching it with Chris Sabat, who was ADR director before he was even in the show. But he's, Piccolo, Yamcha, Vegeta, half the characters, as I mentioned in another episode. They're sitting watching it, and obviously you need to kind of go over it and think, how are you going to make stuff fit? And when you have big screaming things like that, you got to think like, is it attainable in one take? And he's sitting there and he's kind of doing it under his breath, and he's like, he turns to Chris Sabat and he's like, I can do it once. And Chris is like, what? You want to do it in one? And he's like, uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, that's insane.
King shit.
Yeah. Because you could have got away with doing that in multiple takes.
Yeah.
But, man, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
His poor voice.
Yeah. Fuck me. Yeah. I dread to think.
Yeah. But yeah, I just knew about Dragon Ball. I've never sat down and watched a full episode, except for maybe as like a little kid, like maybe like catching it on YouTube. Just like when that was when you could watch anime on YouTube.
Part 4 of 7 or something.
That's how I watched
like
the first episode of Pokemon. It was like in 10 parts, all like 5 minutes each, and I got through it. But like
those good old days.
Oh, that was
different
classic.
days of YouTube.
Yeah.
I remember watching Yu-Gi-Oh episodes like that at some point.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. I watched it. I had a bit of that just on like the internet, and that's mainly how I know Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah. That's the one.
Kai, boy.
That's actually the one abridged series like I'm least familiar with. Like I've never really seen it.
I've not really watched it in full, or if I have, it's been a very long time. But I only really know like a couple jokes.
That's the thing, is it's like
man's man.
that's the thing. Like I guess like none of the spheres I watch or have been in have like watched it, because like I don't even hear the jokes from it. So it's like I know it exists, but I haven't seen it or anything. Obviously, Dragon Ball Z abridged is and say like jokes for that are everywhere as well.
And I'm sort of like hovering around that thing, because I think the same team are doing that, did like a Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah,
stuff.
Team 4-Star. They've done a bunch of stuff.
I'm actually watching that right now.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
It's hilarious. I sent it to you, man.
I know you did. I haven't got around to watching it yet.
Yeah, because the seasons are an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
But...
Obviously, me and Shaun have been talking about this here,
Yeah,
but like
we've
Melina,
gone off.
I'm sure you were aware of it, but
I
like
was definitely aware of it, but again, I'll pull female perspective on this. It's such a boys.
no,
It is,
I
it
absolutely
really is.
get that 100%.
Yeah. It's like, it wasn't Disney XD or something.
Yeah. I mean, it was on Disney XD at one point. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But it's very much at least marketed as like for the bros.
Yeah.
for the little boys.
Yeah, for the little boys, really. But little boys who think they're bros.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be the same in the Netherlands, but definitely here in the UK, you'd be surprised how much anime ended up on Disney XD, because it used to be a completely different channel, and then Disney took it over.
Yeah.
So they were still similar blocks.
I didn't watch it for very long, so I honestly don't know. But it's something you're just kind of aware of as a kid. It's like you scroll through and you're like, no,
Yeah.
no, I don't know, that's not for me. And so I don't think I've ever actually seen a single episode or clip. Only within memes.
Right.
That's the
okay.
difference between us, because I've seen clips.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, haven't at all.
I also just quite regularly send the same abridged clips to you, because they just pop up into my mind.
No,
and
to be fair, they're fucking hilarious.
yeah, my favorite one is it's a layered thing, and I think I've sent you both. Where
Probably.
So there's one which is from the abridged of Return of Cooler, which is they think they've beaten Cooler, Metal Cooler, and they're like,
I think you have. Said
yeah,
this,
they're like, oh man, at least it's only one we have to deal with, and there's not 100 of them. And then they just pans up to a cliff, and there's hundreds. And it's like at the end, and before they spot him, Vegeta's like, man, he just kept punching me in the dick. And then they're like, they see them, and they're like, man, it's like, okay, you take 50, I'll take 50. And then it just cuts later, and it's like a montage of Vegeta getting hit, and he's just like, they keep punching me in the dick.
My favorite part of that clip though is the flash forward to the future with his kids.
Yeah,
and then it flashes forward to his kids, and then like one of the kids is just fading away from the timeline.
So you see Gohan training Goten.
Yeah.
Gohan's the older one, and Goten at this point when the film came out wouldn't have been born in the story, and it cuts to him training Goten, and he just looks at Goten, and Goten fades, and he just goes,
he's got the same standard smile, so he's just like smiling like a dumbass as he's fading away, and then it just cuts to the other kid going, what is he doing?
What was he doing here? But then in the legendary Super Saiyan Broly movie, they're fighting Broly, and eventually
this is the clip that I was actually thinking of.
Broly devolves into just being able to scream Goku's Saiyan name, Kakarot. And he's like, Kakarot! And they're all like beating the shit out of like the whole Z team. And so they're lying there and they're reminiscing on like
past battles,
mainly from the movies. And it's like, they're like, oh man, whatever happened to my dad's evil twin? Like, oh, Turles? I think he's dead. Probably died from the brain tumor. Okay.
What?
It's like,
that just happens.
Yeah. Like, remember Garlic Jr.? Oh yeah.
Dead.
Yeah.
Dead. Yeah.
And then Vegeta's just like, I'd rather be kicked in the dick 1,000 more times
Listen to that
than hear that whatever scream Kakarot's name. And they're just, Kakarot! My other one's like, so how did you become a Super Saiyan? And it just cuts to Vegeta lying on the ground, just slamming his fist, going, I wanna be a Super Saiyan.
Another clip I've seen from the abridged was like, it was in the form of this like Discord meme, but it was like Vegeta's like rising from like a pit or whatever, and he's like, for thousands of years I've lain dormant. Who dares disturb my hey best buddy? Oh, it's you. It's just Goku.
Yeah.
See, I never knew it was a comedic.
The abridged is
the
comedic.
abridged.
Okay,
This is like a sort of parody sort of retelling.
Okay.
The original Dragon Ball,
Very serious.
because if we take
Yeah, absolutely.
the series as in the anime, you've got Dragon Ball and you've got Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball deals with Goku as a kid, and it is way more like lighthearted and comedic. It originally starts as like a weird parody retelling of Journey to the West, the Chinese story, myth, legend. And eventually evolves beyond that, and it's way more of like a martial arts kind of like tournament story, and then
More standard anime.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
and then you hit Z, and aliens come into it.
And
Goku
Super
turns out to
Saiyans.
be an alien. Then the Super Saiyans. And it becomes way more kind of like serious, and
It becomes a lot more about power levels, and then, power levels stop making any fucking sense.
yeah, and then Goku just wants to fight anyone stronger than him.
Yeah, 'cause he's an annoying shit. That's the thing about Goku, right? Like, he's the hero, but he's annoying as fuck.
I think
could
it
be wrong.
depends, like, because the dub kind of interprets them differently.
Okay.
At least the original Z dub. The Kai dub goes a ways to kind of interpret him more faithfully.
Okay.
But I think it's like he's just very innocent and very like one-minded in the sense of like he knows what he wants, he knows what he enjoys. He's in his lane. He's hydrated. He's
a bit-
motivated.
He's a more one-track minded Ash Ketchum with superpowers.
Yeah.
So imagine that.
This guy has 2 kids.
Oh.
He's a terrible father. from what I
Yes, he
hear.
is. He is a terrible father, and Toriyama admitted that himself at one point. He's like, the man died and then met his kid when they were 5 years old.
Yeah. I feel like you could still find a way to be a good father, though.
Yeah. There's also like Piccolo is way more of a dad to Gohan
Oh, yeah.
throughout the story.
What's his name?
Piccolo.
He's exactly what you think.
So
he is.
here's the thing about Dragon Ball names.
Oh boy, here we go.
There are certain. It's not even races either. Like certain.
Oh God, where is this going?
It could go that way. With
So, like-
one character in my mind specifically.
Certain groups of characters have like themed names. So like all of Bulma's family are based on underwear. So you got, because Bulma's original name is Bruma, which is the Japanese for bloomers.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Just in general.
Her kid's name is Bra. Her dad's name is Briefs.
This is giving me aquamarine flashbacks.
Then you've got the Saiyans, which are all vegetables. So Kakarot is carrot.
Okay, so
Vegeta is vegetable. Raditz is radish.
Yeah.
Napa. I actually have no clue what napa is. It's probably
It
just a
sounds-
Japanese
Yeah.
vegetable.
It's for Napcast.
Hey.
I can't remember any other. I don't know what Turles is meant to be. That's like Goku's evil twin from another movie. Broly, broccoli. I don't know. A lot of the Saiyans are dead in the main canon, so
Yeah.
it's literally just
'cause
Goku and Vegeta.
Yeah, because they're like the last. Aren't
Yeah, because like Goku and Piccolo kill Raditz. That's Goku's brother. And then Nappa gets fucking killed too by Goku.
He took the big Nappa.
Yeah, he did.
Good night, everybody.
Then you've
That's
got
been me.
whatever race Frieza's from, because you've got King Cold. That's his.
Like
That's-
King.
Yeah.
That sounds like
Cold.
it sounds like a Kirby villain.
Yeah, who does? And then you've got Freezer, Cooler, which is his brother, cousin.
The cooler.
They're the only two that ever show up.
What the fuck?
That's kind of it for like the themed names that I can think of off the top of my head. Then you've got like other weird ones where like later there's a character called Beerus, which in Japanese is beers, as in like actual beer. So yeah, the names are something.
Yeah.
Good way to say.
Yeah.
It's something.
How did I get onto this point again?
You mentioned.
What character were you
mentioned
thinking of?
Piccolo.
Oh yeah, Piccolo. Yeah, so he's based on the instrument Piccolo.
Because I was thinking, because in Italian, Piccolo is just small.
Yeah, no.
It's like he's a little boy.
I think
But
the
yeah,
other
that's true.
races, the other people from the Namekian race are also named after instruments, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. Dende is another character.
Drum. So it's just drum.
Dende's one. I think that's. I don't know what instrument that's
Djembe?
meant to be.
That's a type of like bongo.
No, it could even just be a Japanese
Yeah.
instrument, you know. But anyway, yeah, you mentioned that it going in a direction with a certain character name, and I can't think what you're
Not
talking
the
about.
name, just sort of the character design.
Oh, you talked about Mr. Popo.
Yes.
So
Oh, no.
I know.
okay.
No, I know. There's a whole conversation to this.
Yes.
And, like I know that's why I said it could have. Sort of
Yeah,
gone that way.
so-
It depends because
It's
Japan and culture.
the thing is, Mr. Popo's not based on an actual like
I know.
an interpretation of a black person.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, I'm going to show you the design
Yeah, send-
right now,
send
just
her
so
a
you've got
picture.
the context.
I can't. It's based on. Is it an old Indian?
Yeah,
I think it's based on an old Indian god.
yeah, you can sort of see that already just in the
Yeah.
design. But yeah, I'm just sending it into our Discord right now.
Sure.
Because if people want to actually talk about like characters and race in Dragon Ball, like one of the most black coded characters.
Yeah, Melina's just given the face.
Yeah.
Of, oh my god.
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
Mr. Popo, and so like
you can see.
You can see.
no, I get it. It's just it's based on like an actual.
Yeah, like it's not meant to be malicious or anything in
Yeah.
that sort of sense. But it was controversial enough to the point where like I think in some regions they did recolor them to be a sort of bluish tint.
Yeah,
I think that yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember what
So like
he's based on.
so I guess like if when it was coming over to like the West on TV and stuff, they would have given him like a blue
Oh, I mean, there's whole loads of
edits.
edits. Because in one version,
Because you've got one
some of
that
the blood's
looks like he's
recolored.
like neon blue.
Yeah, I think neon blue works better.
To me, like a lot of the pictures where he looks like this looks like a big bad Photoshop effect.
Yeah. So he's based on the Hindu god, sorry.
Okay.
Mahakala. And I'll send you the picture of him.
Yeah.
It makes total sense.
Apologies if we mispronounce anything.
Yeah. And I'm also sorry for getting it wrong that it was he's a Hindu god. So yeah, that's what they look like.
Which you could see.
Yeah.
I can see it, but I also think, in the creation of character, they could have thought about it a bit.
I think the thing is, at the time, for like when they were making like the character, like this was what 90s, 80s.
80s. Like this was
And in Japan, that wasn't
Yeah,
really.
they
but
didn't
also
think
I want to
about
point
it.
out that like Mr. Popo is also earliest era, so he's also from the time where it was taking inspiration from all of the mythological stuff as well. So that makes sense where the design comes from. And you know, again, not to brush it away or anything, but Akira Toriyama is Japanese, so like he's not gonna be aware of.
Yeah, and there's not. I don't want to say not as informed, but like. At the very least, they're like the tropes like that wouldn't have the negative connotations.
No.
I
think a lot of people are
the context and the history that we know.
I think when people bring that up, a lot of people are putting the sort of Western perspective, where like we had the civil rights movement by then, and that's a very Western perspective of it, and it's like,
which is understandable.
Yeah, understandable, because like, again, not to brush it away or anything, but like Japan is very ethnically Japanese, especially during that era. So it's not like, you know, he would have had that perspective. And I'd say, like, again, the way other characters are written, they're very much coded to be, you know, black or other people, other persons of color. And I'd say they're very respectful in their portrayal of that, especially the way that people of those races have kind of latched on to them. And, you know, I brought up Piccolo earlier, but, you know, so... Anyway,
to sort of translate that like back to video games and stuff, like even from that era, like, well, this was in the late 90s, but like you've got Barrett and like Final Fantasy 7, I'd say is a very good like depending on like the translation, they do sort of the accent could be a bit that they sort of try to give him, but like in terms of actual character, he's like the best character in the entire game. Like I fucking love Barrett, man. But like it's he's not played up as like a stereotype or anything. He's just a cool dude.
Akira Toriyama is more than just Dragon Ball.
Okay.
Because that is his big thing, and I think as much as
absolutely, but
there were times where when he was writing it, he lamented the fact that it was so popular and that it would probably be his lasting thing. Because he tried to end it multiple times. I don't think he necessarily wanted to do the adult Goku stuff at first, and then he wanted to end it at the end of the Cell games, but Shueisha, the people who own Weekly Shonen Jump, kind of wanted them to keep going because it was massively fucking popular. The anime was airing. They want to make that bank.
It was profitable.
It was profitable, so he did the Boo Saga, but then eventually they let him end it. I don't know what's going on with my throat today. I'm sorry if I'm coughing a lot.
We forgive you.
Yes. Whether the audience will, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Send your hate mail too.
But of course, he's worked on more than that.
Yeah, he's much more than just Dragon Ball.
Yeah. So before Dragon Ball, he worked in a series called Dr. Slump, which was a comedic series and was popular in its own right. It had
I remember reading about this.
An anime adaptation at the time. Hold on, I'm gonna quickly open the Slump Wikipedia article here so I can check the. So it had an anime series around when the manga was in circulation that aired for 243 episodes. It then had another adaptation in the late 90s where it ran for another 74. There were, I think, 10 or 11 movies. So that was popular as well. And then you've got, the fact that he was one of the people on the very small team that created Dragon Quest back in the beginning. He was the main artist who worked on that, created the character designs and stuff.
This I wish I had known before, because I am so disappointed that I didn't know this until after like the news I'd heard that he'd passed and stuff, and like you told me about it. But like, it's so obvious in hindsight because the character designs for early Dragon Quest and specifically Chrono Trigger.
Yes,
you can see it plain as day that those are like the same sort of design.
Yeah, that's very much his design, like that spiky hair. And...
like the main character of Chrono Trigger looks exactly like a Dragon Ball Z character. And I'm so ashamed I didn't know that beforehand.
And it's funny because like the most iconic thing about Dragon Quest is the slime design, and that was because Toriyama got given the brief for the design. And he just drew that. That's all he submitted. It's completely against what the brief said, but he just drew that and went,
But it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's iconic.
It's the most, impactful part, I think, of the series as a whole. Oh my God. My throat. Yeah, what were we talking about? Dragon Quest.
And the other stuff he's done.
Yeah, so lead character designer of Dragon Quest up until the upcoming game 12. That'll be the last one he's involved in. Obviously Chrono Trigger. There was also Blue Dragon for the Xbox 360. So I would go so far as to call him a generational talent, just for the sheer impact that he's had.
Yeah, like those are all huge things.
Because I mean, I even saw the director of Gundam, Yoshiyuki Tomino, saying that like there are 5 manga artists that everyone needs to like, you know, read and pay respect to.
Yeah.
One being Osamu Tezuka, obviously, because he was like the biggest one back in the 60s. He also started the TV anime with Astro Boy.
The Progenitor.
Also a yeah. He tanked his own studio, so you know. Then there was Akira Toriyama, and I can't remember the other 3 because it was mainly the fact that like the top 2 were you had Osamu Tezuka, and then right behind him was Akira Toriyama. So like that's how important he is, not domestically, but also I'd say internationally. Yeah.
I mean, we already talked about he's huge. All the stuff like Dragon Ball and stuff's huge, like internationally.
Yeah, like it has shaped the Western market for anime. Without it, we wouldn't be here doing this podcast.
No, we wouldn't be here. Funimation probably wouldn't.
No, I mean Funimation was created solely to license Dragon Ball at the start. So yeah, it's literally the whole. I mean, it existed in the West beforehand. And
we did talk about stuff like Pokemon would have still probably happened.
Yeah,
like,
I mean that still would have happened because Disney were 4Kids, were involved with that back in the day, and then it's Disney and its own thing eventually. Yeah. So,
but like anime as like an actual like thing.
Yeah,
we wouldn't have weebs.
No, I mean
you can like argue on whether that's a good thing or bad thing, but you know we're here right now, so we're gonna be biased.
We'd essentially be doing, you know, if Dragon Ball didn't hit it off, if Dragon Ball didn't, you know, come to the West, we'd essentially still be doing whatever the modern equivalent of passing pirated fan sub VHS tapes back in the 80s was.
Yeah, exactly. Like we wouldn't have moved past that.
No, you wouldn't have had Funimation. You wouldn't have Crunchyroll. You wouldn't have any of the streaming services we have now.
You wouldn't have like the big conventions you have like right now. You'd probably still calling yourselves otakus.
Yeah, yeah. You'd also have the fact that like even the print side of things with the manga and stuff. Like I don't think Viz would have been as big as it is now. I mean, Viz are part owned by Shueisha now and are pretty much the English arm of Shonen Jump and publish pretty much everything that runs in there.
Yeah, and we wouldn't have the fact that like manga's outselling normal comic books now.
Exactly, yeah, like that's insane.
I know.
But then, you know, also Marvel, DC, maybe look inward a little. It's partly your own fault.
Yeah, they're sort of crumbling.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
there's still good comics out there.
Oh, 100%.
There's a lot of main runs that are way past their prime.
Yeah, it's very telling that when people look at, you know, oh, like, what comics should I read? There's nothing new. It's all very much older stuff.
Just to like give a sort of perspective on that, just to like, because I'm a little bit in the Spider-Man comic sphere, as you can imagine. The main Spider-Man run that's been going on for the last year or so right now has been absolute shit. Like just like universally by like everyone who's like read it, but like right now everyone is mainly focusing on the sort of spin-off run set in the new Ultimate Universe, because there's a new Ultimate Universe.
Of course there is.
Yeah.
But like it's actually good.
Ah, okay.
And the thing is because they're actually moving Peter's story forward.
They're not just stagnating him.
No, the Peter in that. This is way off topic, but this like Spider-Man run has him like married to MJ already when he gets his powers. Like, he's got kids and stuff. Like the timelines move forward.
That's an interesting way to tell the story now, because we've done everything with young Peter, with Peter in high school and college.
Yeah, whereas the main Spider-Man run has him like in his vaguely late 20s, but he's still exactly where he was when he was like 17.
Of course.
And like broken up with MJ and they're never getting back together and all that stuff.
Cause we
that's
ever
that's basically it. And everyone's panning that, so everyone's moving over to the new Ultimate Spider-Man comic.
No, fair enough.
Anyway, way off tangent. My point was that there's a reason manga is like taking over
100%
in terms of sales.
I think it's,
and it all of that really leads back to like Dragon Ball. And
Yeah,
all that.
100%. Yeah, it's just, I mean,
We lost a legend.
yeah, 100%.
How old was he?
He was.
He wasn't that old, was he?
No, he was 68.
Yeah.
Oh.
He died of, I believe,
Just getting it up right now.
a subdural hematoma, which is essentially a bleed on the brain.
Wow.
There were some rumors recently that he might have had an operation for a brain tumor back in
Okay.
December or so. So it's probably come from
yeah.
that. Because it was quite sad because there was something not long after his death was announced that was like his note for some awards or something like that, and it says essentially that like he wasn't sure how long he could keep going on with stuff, and that that what he was working on now with Dragon Ball and that like Daima, the series that'll air this year and stuff like that, will probably be the last things that he'll end up working on. And that was quite
Prophetic.
yeah, it was weird reading that, because obviously, you know, he didn't know he was gonna die.
No.
So yeah, I mean, it was one that really got me
Yeah,
when I
can
read
imagine.
it.
Fair, yeah.
Because it was like I saw it that morning and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And I was like, I went to work and I was like, just on the way to work, and I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I started getting emotional the more I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, this is like
End of an era.
yeah. It is so strange.
I know. It's a creator that's impacted your life. In a
Yeah,
big way.
like Dragon Ball is not the biggest thing within my anime life, but without it, I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's so huge and so like influential, and where anime is just even purely on the Western's perspective and how big it's gotten.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so many people where if you were to ask them like, how did you get into anime? A lot of people I think would say,
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
because that
Dragon
was there. It was accessible. It was, you know, everywhere.
Yeah.
So you could talk to people about it. You got your first sense of community with it.
Set a good foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like to be that foundation and have it be of quality as well must have been so important for the growth
Yeah.
of the community.
Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, there's still like Dragon Ball memes going around.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they will forever. Like
Yeah.
over 9,000, as old as it is, it will
Yeah.
still be used.
Yeah, exactly.
I know it. That says a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause,
exactly.
Like, that is a line from an old dub that's just not available anymore.
No.
That's not the
Oh.
line in the
No.
current dub. Because that was from
In
before.
the original Japanese as well. I mean, this is the factoid I always heard. In the original Japanese, it was over 8,000.
I couldn't tell you about that. I have no idea.
That's what I always heard as like the sort of joke, like you're a real weeb if you know that shit.
Okay. No, I genuinely don't know. I've never watched it in Japanese. I can't really stand Goku's Japanese voice actor, to be fair.
Yeah. And to be fair, like even it was also at that point that a lot of people I heard talk about, like this is when even at this point power levels meant fuck all.
Oh yeah, definitely. But like, yeah, and that was before Funimation took over, like dubbing it. They had licensed it, but I think they were like
Outsourcing?
outsourcing it to regional production stuff. So like, I think it's from a Canadian version that we also got over here. I could be wrong. I don't know. It's hard to keep track because there are like
There's a lot.
4 or 5 dubs just in
Yeah.
English
Goodness.
for Dragon Ball. It's
Never forget the big green dub.
yeah, yeah. Were they called Piccolo Big Green?
Because he's big and green. They just called him Big Green.
No, I get it. Fair enough.
Let that child alone. Real line.
Yeah,
Let that child alone.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the line.
Yeah.
No hesitation.
No.
Purposefully? Oh.
That's what they were given. That's what he said.
Okay.
The thing is,
Oh my God.
that dub is so old. I can't even say that there's someone just stuck that at Google Translate and just went with it because
Probably.
it wouldn't have existed at the time.
No.
Yeah.
What did they? How did they? How?
Look, all I know is that the guy who said that just got a piece of paper, read it, and was like, "I'm getting paid for this. I don't care."
Oh yeah, definitely.
I feel like even I in the studio would be like, do you want me to, you know, leave? Leave
Yeah.
the
Do you
child?"
want me to change that line to leave that child alone?
No.
I was like, nah, just read it as the script says. Fucking actors,
You're not
am
paid.
I right?
You're
Ugh.
not paid to change the fucking script.
Are you the writer or am I?
No, are you the translator or am I? I didn't write
I'm a
this
writer.
shit. A writer.
Oh, don't get into
Is
that.
that a
'cause-
whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I fucking knew it would be.
Don't,
figured it would
because
be in like at least the fan.
It's already a problem with Dragon Ball, but recently it has become so insufferable. The whole like translators are bad. They're trying to put their wokoid shit in there. And
Oh
it's like,
my god.
bro,
Yeah.
fuck
Shut
off.
the fuck up.
Yeah. It's like, because the whole thing is, it's like, translation is, if we want to get semantic about it here, when you're translating something for anime and English, you're not translating,
You
you're
can't be direct.
localizing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to, if you're translating a comedy, there are going to be jokes inherently in
Yeah.
there that
Yeah.
are not going to translate in English or make sense contextually
This is
to a
the-
Western audience.
This is the whole
100%.
thing with localization.
Yeah.
There are things in an original language or an original culture that just will never make sense.
No, and there's some things that you maybe don't want to touch and you can remedy with translator notes or just sheer exposure. The fact that some anime don't translate honorifics because it's kind of it's half and half on whether you can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's somewhere
Yeah.
it makes sense. I think Lupin there's enough without oh my god, how do I structure this sentence?
You can do it.
There's enough
God.
non-honorific stuff where the
Yes.
few times it does turn up, it makes sense to just translate San as Mr. or Mrs.
Yeah, exactly.
But like maybe if you're doing a high school drama
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
there's there's senpai, there's San, there's Kun,
these
there's
different
Chan, there's all
contexts.
these different contextual ones. It makes a bit more sense to maybe just leave that untranslated
Yeah.
and maybe give like a
'Cause there is no
an
equivalent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no equivalent for some of this, and it can go a ways to showcase the relationship dynamic
Yeah,
between
yeah.
characters instead of just translating someone's name with Chan at the end to a weird nickname
Yeah.
in the English subtitles. So like anyway, sorry, I derailed your point.
I forgot what my point was.
You were saying there's going to be things in the original language that
Yeah, like in terms of localization, like a good example I can think of, not like an actual real example, but just a made up one on the top of my head. Like if there's like a joke in a sort of like movie or thing where like that depended on like they make fun of like a home, like a town in Japan that's like known to have like a reputation for I don't know,
Yeah.
being stupid or whatever. Like they can't obviously translate that if they bring it to America.
Yeah.
Because no one's gonna get that. So they'll take liberties and basically substitute it for like, oh, they're as stupid as like people in like Utah or whatever.
yeah.
No offense to anyone from Utah who's listening.
Oh well, I mean,
Full offense.
full offense. Home of the Mormons. Come on.
Okay, yeah, I forgot that was Utah. I'm gonna be honest. I thought that was a
You
Really
picked the perfect one. You picked the actual perfect example.
No. The perfect one would have been Florida.
I mean, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot Utah was the home of the Mormons.
Yeah.
I thought that was Ohio for a second.
Gonna have the Watchtower coming after us soon. They ain't listening to this.
But
I'm
anyway,
sorry,
yeah.
that would be so funny though.
That would be to
Yeah.
accidentally.
Imagine the headline: "Local Scottish anime podcast angers Mormon church."
No. If we angered Scientology, that would be real.
Ooh, they're local. They have an office in Edinburgh.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna get hunted down.
Yeah.
They're gonna take me to wherever the founder's wife is. She's been missing since 2007.
Oh, I know.
That's gonna
Yeah.
be me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Back to anime.
Yeah. It's the There are egregious examples of it for sure. Like that does happen, but
But like the point is, you're gonna have those liberties and
Uh-huh.
those changes
Yeah.
no matter what.
like because one of
Should,
the
yeah.
the things that kind of comes up every so often is like translators putting in like slang, yeah, like our equivalent of certain things, and it's like
I'm not sure if we talked about this on the podcast, but I know for a fact we have talked.
yeah, we have
Yeah,
talked
we
about this for sure. Because it's like I think it was at Nagatoro. I can't remember the full title of that show. It's weird, and I'm not a big fan. Anyway,
That show.
that show it used the word sus in the subtitles, and
You
people
mentioned it,
freaked
yeah.
the fuck out, and I'm like, guys,
Makes
it makes sense contextually.
If
Like-
they're teenagers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Talking.
they're
Oh,
Gen
yeah.
Z or Gen Alpha.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's because I'm pretty sure she says like and you're acting weird, or you're acting suspicious, and it's like, well, yeah, saying you're
sus.
you're sus, like that makes sense.
So
Absolutely.
Aha.
cringe.
Like that's but that's the base level we're working with. Is there are people who just want things fed through a machine, not realizing what that
They want
is.
they want the pure, authentic experience.
they think they want the pure authentic
Yeah,
experience.
exactly. That's what they think.
Until they realize what that means, which is stilted nonsense,
Yeah.
or
And they
a
will-
machine handling it and it being just
Horrible.
and
garbage.
and they will be the first people to complain about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Not like
reminds
this.
it reminds you of another bullshit like sort of debate in the gaming sphere again, because like I'm coming back to that.
Yeah.
But like to go back to Final Fantasy for a second, the yellow paint fucking bullshit.
Oh yeah.
There's a thing in like video games like nowadays where, like, to sort of signify like an object you can interact with.
A
like,
video
terrain.
game,
Yeah.
a visual medium using visual cues
Yeah,
to tell
show
you
Yeah.
what you can interact with. Mainly, I think it comes from the fact that graphics are so like good. At
high
this.
fidelity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like things are gonna blend in more. So
Yeah.
the usual thing is like they'll give an object a sort of yellow tint, or even just like have a yellow paint on like a box you can break or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's like a certain subset of
Yeah.
gamers that flip their shit at this whole thing because they're like, they think I'm stupid. They think I won't know how to interact with
It
this
takes time.
for babies.
Yeah,
That's
and the
my-
hilarious thing about this is it was from a gameplay preview of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Game wasn't out yet.
No.
Gameplay preview showed like the yellow ledges you can grab
Yeah,
on
yeah.
and like climb up. You play the game, and those are actually very few and far between, and you can
Yes.
just climb a bunch of different stuff
Exactly.
that is not visually indicated.
Yeah.
You've just got to use your little fucking monkey brain and go, can I climb this? Press circle. Yeah, I can.
And I will say there are a lot of times where like Cloud has just jumped up onto a ledge and I was like, oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, yeah, that too.
I didn't
Yeah.
mean to go here, but all right.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. It's not even that annoying. It's just the fact that like it's not that much of a problem.
No,
guys.
and like usually it's in a place where it contextually makes sense
Yeah.
as well.
Like the only thing I can sort of see. I'm not gonna agree with though. Like the Resident Evil remakes, because that has a bunch of yellow paint on objects.
Oh
that you
yeah,
can
yeah.
Probably imagine. Yeah, I could probably break that. But like, even because I'm playing through Resi 4 again remake, and like I would say that like. If I didn't have that paint, there would probably be a bunch of boxes that are just
yeah.
like mess because they're on like shelves and stuff, and they blend in a lot of just the stuff
Yeah.
on that. They're like, I wouldn't think, oh right, I can press X near this and it'll just break it.
Yeah, it's another thing of like, I lost my point as I was starting it. That's insane.
Jeez.
To sort of go on, like further on that point again, I also played a little bit, well, I know a little bit more about like the original now, and like the yellow paint isn't there on the objects you can break there, but there's still visual cues.
Don't they shimmer or something in the original? Or
Well, in that era they would usually shimmer, yeah, but like in the original game, they're very much a very noticeable brighter tint
okay.
compared to other objects.
yeah,
Which I'd say you could argue is a bit more egregious. because
Yeah.
Why are they just glowing like that?
but that is a big thing with games, especially when devs come like chime in on it. 'Cause it's always like, we've play tested not
Yeah.
having that stuff there, and no one knows what to do.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
They
think
check
it's
through
all-
the stuff.
Yeah, I hate people that are like, you don't get it. It's like authentic. This is the best
Yeah.
way to consume this because I believe so. Like, get off your fucking high.
Yeah,
horse.
it's pushing your philosophy as
Yeah.
like an objective fact.
Yeah, and like, probably the anime community is one of the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're, they'll say, you don't listen to this particular dub. You don't
Because you
use
have
these
that-
particular subs because these are the most authentic, and you're a fake
Yeah.
fan.
You have that like added dimension where like because it comes from like another country and stuff, like you've got those fans that feel very superior when they're like,
Yeah.
I watch it in the original language, only the best subtitles
Uh-huh.
by other auteurs like me.
Yeah, which is hilarious because it's like people will go, "Oh, this line isn't right," even if you know like rudimentary Japanese like me, and it's like I'll listen to it and I'll read the subtitles and it's like, no, it's not exactly what they're saying, but I
close
get
enough.
why they've gone that
Yeah.
way
Yeah,
because it makes sense.
it makes sense. Yeah, there's a logic.
Yeah, it's almost like what they're saying, if translated literally, has no fucking life in it.
Exactly. We wouldn't get that in this language.
No.
Because it's also about just carrying emotion
Yeah.
through, and certain things won't carry over as well
Uh-huh.
linguistic wise.
Because it's like there's certain times where it's like in Japanese, sorry might mean thank you, or thank you might mean sorry, or there's certain interpretations, and it's like, well, you got to apply context and understanding to it.
Absolutely.
Rather than just going, what word say this, word is that.
Or just including the word Nakama.
Oh, don't get me started.
This
The
is
the official Netflix account actually uttered that word when they announced season 2 of One Piece, and I almost flipped my shit.
Oh god.
Context.
So in One Piece,
Hold on, while you're giving this context, I'm just going to tell it.
okay. So in One Piece,
I have heard this before.
Yeah.
So I can just bounce out here.
in One Piece, the word Nakama comes up a lot,
Yeah.
and now because of fan subs, some chose to just leave that untranslated with the translator note. Nakama means a special friend, or like a close friend, or like an important friend. No, it doesn't. It just means fucking friend. There is no special bearing between that word.
It's just friend.
It's just friend.
Cool.
So you now have a subset of weebs who are really into One Piece, who are on about their Nakama and they're really close friends, and it is cringe. It is utterly cringe.
It's almost like the intentional cringe,
Yeah.
where
Except,
as soon as it happens,
yeah.
It's to me so similar to like, if you're on Tinder and it says like, I'm just looking for the Pam to my gem. Mm-hmm. That's giving the same vibe. Where like,
Yeah. But then you have the official Netflix account during one of the, like, while they were talking about season 2,
yeah,
use the word Nakama, and I'm like, you guys should know better.
Yeah, you guys should have Googled.
Yeah, like,
Just
you guys
come on.
know that the official subtitles...
Got it fucking wrong.
Yeah. No, the official subtitles don't mention Nakama. They just they just translate it like they should. It was fan subs.
Because like fan subs, why?
So they do have their place, because there's
Yeah.
a lot of unlicensed stuff.
Yeah, well, I get it if there's no official dub or sub out there. I understand for the community's sake.
Yeah.
You know, creating the sub version. But if there's like already a good one,
The thing is, when it comes to official subs anyway nowadays, fan subs pretty much don't traditionally exist for them, because they'll pretty much just take the Crunchyroll script
fair.
and make small changes to fit whatever they are.
Their narrative.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like small edits that they'll make that just kind of like, okay, you put in a lot of work for no reason here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, fan subs do have a purpose still, but that's mainly for like the unlicensed kind of like stuff that probably will never get licensed, because
the low level stuff.
yeah, or like the more
maybe not.
obscure kind of like VHS tape from the 80s that doesn't have a DVD or a Blu-ray release.
That's, close to becoming lost media.
Yeah, essentially. Because like not everything is gonna get licensed by the mad lads at Discotheque who picked that like very obscure mech anime from 1983 that like 3 people have seen.
Like as a business, that's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing. Like Discotheque are pretty open about the fact that like they only do single print runs because they don't really make the money off of some of these.
Yeah.
There are big things that make money, like Lupin,
Yeah.
but stuff like Lightspeed Albegus, that's not gonna make money.
No. And the unfortunate reality of capitalism is you've got to like take that.
Like Discotheque are in the fortunate position where they can do stuff like that because they have an angel investor who just puts money into them, and is just happy for them to, license and get on with it and put in the work and the effort. And it does mean that they can make really good home video releases, like the Project Echo Blu-ray, which was the Everything in the Kitchen Sink release, which is just chock full with bonus features and like extra shit.
Nice.
Like that whole release was actually a journey in and of itself, because it was announced as like an upscale release at first, using some new text, because obviously upscale there's usually a bit of a let's not do that. But
it's too smooth.
this is using something called Astro Res, which from the implementations I've seen of it, very good.
Oh, no, very nice.
It's not the same as obviously native film scans, because of course it's not.
Of course it's not going to be, but...
But when you're looking at, upscaling something that maybe you can't do a film scan of, or like is that early kind of 2000s,
The
early
grain.
digital era,
Yeah.
where it was mastered in like 480p or something.
Oh god.
You can put it through AstroRes and it'll look pretty decent.
Nice.
Because recently Lovely Complex came out in Blu-ray, and I think they used AstroRes to upscale that, and it looks really nice.
Nice.
It's all about application, because if it's something like
course.
highly detailed, it's probably gonna fuck it up.
Yeah, exactly. It's not perfect.
But then, in one of the film labs in Tokyo, which was actually called Tokyo Labs, I think,
Well,
Robert Woodhead, the head of Anime Igo, a completely different company, was there to get film masters for a completely different anime, and came across an uncatalogued film can,
oh,
and looked at it and read it and went, surely not.
it can't be.
It can't be. And it was Project Echo.
Fucking nice.
The film master was thought completely lost.
And it was just there.
It was just lost. They found so many
Lost
lost reels that were just uncatalogued
stuff. God, I love
Yeah.
stories
due to
like
errors and stuff.
I mean, I know in like throughout Europe, you have film houses and stuff that will just find shit from like the 30s.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, I thought we lost this.
My like Roman Empire of stuff like this is the story of Citizen Kane when it comes to the film master. Because everyone thinks that like, or there was a time where people thought, oh, we might be able to find a really good master of it. And like, the thing is, the current 4K version, the current master is sourced from so many cobbled together different pieces just to make like a nice
yes.
result. Because the original camera negative is like completely lost. And someone was telling a story of how they worked in a silver reclamation facility in the, I want to say 80s, 90s maybe.
Yeah.
And someone from Warner Brothers just came in with a whole bunch of stuff and was like, just meld it down, we'll get the silver out of it.
Dump it.
Just dump it. And they did. And about 3 months later, someone phoned and was desperately like asking if they'd already reclaimed the silver from them. And they're like
3 weeks later.
yeah.
Yeah.
They were looking for Citizen Kane.
God. You know what this reminds me of? You know what I'm gonna say?
What?
Doctor Who.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, don't get me started on Doctor Who, though. Don't get me started on the BBC.
I'm not saying the whole story. One, because I'm pretty sure I've already said it on the podcast somewhere, and because it's not like an unknown story. I think anyone who's even knows a little bit about.
I mean, the
Doctor
BBC
Who.
is notorious for
Yeah.
that.
So much stuff like pre 1970 or like even pre 1980.
Yeah.
Just like is just gone because the BBC's policy was just once it's been filmed and once it's aired, just it's useless.
Been it.
Junk it.
Yep.
Yep.
Man.
So much stuff is lost. We're very lucky. I remember I read about this recently. We're very lucky to have Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Yeah.
Completely, because
Really?
the only reason that exists is because one of the Pythons, I forget which one specifically. I think it might have been Eric Idle.
I've heard this story. I can't remember who it was though.
Yeah, I know it was just one of them who personally like kept like
Oh, that's
records
great.
of like
Yeah.
the film and like tape and stuff just to have like his own collection, and that is literally the only reason. We
Wow.
have it.
Yep.
And it's not lost.
I've watched a few of the episodes for Flying Circus,
Yeah.
and it holds up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
that's the thing is I think Flying Circus also benefits from the fact that unlike most BBC shows, because it was like on location shooting,
Yeah.
was all shot on film.
A lot of it is
Yeah.
film.
Yeah. Whereas BBC, it was like location was 60mm film, whereas in studio was master tape.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
Has worse quality now.
Yeah.
Like it made sense for the time.
definitely.
Because cheaper.
Yeah.
Was it easier to edit on tape?
It was easier editing
Yeah.
on tape because you didn't have to manually cut or like clone or anything like that. You could just fire it in.
And obviously back then it was all coming out on like standard 60s or 70s
Yeah.
era TV anyway, so there wasn't really who cared
Yeah.
about the quality. It was all just being outputted at the same
Exactly.
thing. Obviously nowadays when it comes to physical releases, we have things that can like give you much higher quality. Only on film though,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
unless you upscale.
Um,
like
Cyber City Oedo So there are two versions that I own of that. One was the original Blu-ray release, which was upscaled from the masters that were available, which were SD because they were from the DVD era. And then from that Tokyo Labs thing came the film masters, unedited because it was edited on tape. The director of the OVA, I think, was assisted in re-editing everything for the new Blu-ray release.
God damn.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
That's lucky.
Yeah.
There was a similar thing, I think, with one of the Star Trek shows. I think like had a similar situation where like it was filmed on film, but it was edited on tape.
It happened a lot for America in the
Yeah.
70s and 80s.
So I think it might have been Next Generation, or it was either Next Generation or Voyager. Where like
No, it was Deep Space Nine
Oh,
because they
okay.
haven't released that in HD yet because of that. Whereas
no, I'm going on the fact that like they did re-edit it though with the film though, so they could get a Blu-ray release.
maybe it was Voyager then.
So, yeah, it might have been. My first thought is Voyager, but I'm unsure. But I think it was either the Blu-ray or the Netflix release where they had it in HD that they went back and re-edited it at all, and he maybe possibly even redid some VFX.
Yeah. Oh, in fact, no, it was both. It was both
Yeah.
of them. Yeah, I'm remembering because of it was all three. Sorry, it was original series, Next Generation, and Voyager. I'm
sense.
forgetting about the new VFX for
Yeah,
original series.
which you can debate on, I imagine. But
Yeah, I mean they look okay.
yeah.
It's some of them are better than the like model stuff for the ships because like in that era, the model shooting scenes, like we hadn't had Star Wars yet.
No.
That changed
Yeah,
everything. Whereas Next Generation, I think they've maintained most of like the model
Yeah.
scenes, so that's fine. It's I'll agree that the original series stuff probably benefits from
I imagine.
those visual effects. Anyway, this is Anime Lane.
This is Anime Lane. Yeah, we've gone on a complete tangent
Yeah.
on like upscaling and like film and stuff, but
Weebs are cringe.
Yeah.
That was the original
Yeah.
point of this
That's the-
conversation. Yeah,
Weebs are cringe.
we're
and
trying
they
to
need get
remember
off
the
their
creator
high
of
horse.
Dragon Ball, by the way.
we are.
I mean, we're talking about the impact. That
Yeah,
he's had,
yeah.
And like without him, we wouldn't be here.
No, we
A
wouldn't
lot
be
of
here.
Anime probably wouldn't be as popular
No,
or
absolutely
even
not.
exist. So it's crazy.
You can track, Toriyama's impact across Weekly Shonen Jump. Like pretty much every manga series that's been in there since Dragon Ball, in some way is aped Dragon Ball. Like the tournament stuff is purely
Absolutely.
taking from Dragon Ball.
Even outside of manga, again, like in video games, like I'm thinking Mortal Kombat and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
totally
yeah.
took that tournament style. Even Pokemon a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that maybe where they got the idea from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in the anime, that's very much like a tournament, like the gym battles and stuff, and especially
Yeah.
the championship stuff.
And that's exactly
Way-
it. It's
like way more than even the games.
like every big shonen series usually has some kind of tournament
Yeah,
arc in it.
because Dragon Ball.
Arguably, none of them have done it as well as
Probably
Dragon
not.
Ball. A lot of them are ass. But it's besides the point.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh's different. Like that's purely built on the idea. That's fair enough. I'm talking like Naruto.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't give a shit.
Why does Naruto have a tournament? He's a ninja.
I don't know. It's part of like the tuning exams and stuff.
Of course it is.
It's I don't mind Naruto, but it's not like
I
yeah,
don't mind it most of the time.
like 80% of it isn't that great. Like 20% of it's pretty decent.
Nah, just the nah part.
Nah,
The nah,
The
yeah, the
nah.
nah.
fair. Yeah.
One of the three syllables.
Yeah.
Wait, Naruto. Yeah.
I know my joke. I got it
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I thought this through.
2 out of 3 syllables, maybe. Shit. Yeah, I don't know what I expected out of this episode other than devolving into nonsense, to be fair.
I think again we got good conversation.
We did get good conversation. We talked about a lot of stuff that wouldn't naturally have come up either way. Anyway,
Maybe if we were really going off on like film and like nap, but that was like
yeah,
very
but I probably would have refrained from bringing up like stuff that we've talked about here
Yeah.
on there. But yeah, no, big loss.
Big
Yeah.
loss.
Yeah.
He's leaving behind an amazing legacy.
Oh,
Absolutely.
100%. I am terrified of what Toei are going to do with Dragon Ball now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my concern.
Because
that side.
when he wasn't involved, we got GT.
Oh dear.
And then when he was involved, we got Battle of the Gods, Resurrection F, Broly, just some incredible stuff. I mean, Resurrection F is kind of mid, but the fights are cool. So,
On the positive side, when was GT? Like that was early 2000s, right?
99,
99. Okay.
I think.
So you'd think, hopefully, in between that time,
Yeah.
they'd have found a way to possibly figure out how to do it without him.
I mean, I think GT was what made him go, oh,
Fuck this.
fuck this, I'm coming back.
What the fuck did you do to my
Yeah.
shit?
Yeah. I mean, Daima already looks oof, I'll be honest, and he was involved in that, but I'm just reluctant of the idea of just rehashing the GT concept of making them kids again. Well, not GT just made Goku a kid again, which was trying to tap into the sort of mystical adventure of the original Dragon Ball era. Now, Daima has made, like, I think most of the characters kids.
Oh yeah, actually, I do remember this now.
It looks dumb.
Yeah, I remember it looking dumb even as a non-Dragon Ball fan. You
Yeah,
showed it.
and I'm not entirely sure what the purpose of it is, because I don't have like confirmation, and I could probably check. I'm not sure, but the rumor is it's taking place before Super, which makes no
Sense.
Super picks up pretty much
Immediately after.
immediately after Z, before Z jumped to like 10 years in the future, because Z has like an epilogue that's
yeah.
like 10 years in the future. And so Super takes place in there, like immediately. I think it's maybe like a year after the Boo stuff. So why are we going back? They could have done a sequel to Super, which everyone wanted. And they've gone for, let's go back in time and make everyone kids. But also no one's brought that up during Super. So,
We'll see what happens.
yeah. I think it's going to be ass. I'm not holding out any hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh well.
I'm curious who they'll get to voice Goku as a kid in the dub though, because it's been a while since we've seen Goku as a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, GT was the last time he was a kid, so I don't remember if they brought back Stephanie Donnelly for him at that point. If that would have been the same era, or if they'll have to recast. I'm not sure.
We'll see.
Yeah, weird. Anyway, I think we've talked
Yeah,
enough.
we've gone on.
Yeah. Rep to Akira Toriyama, man. Like,
Yeah, what a legend.
absolute legend. Generational talent. He had an impact in the world that I don't think he possibly could have comprehended.
Even we cannot.
No, I barely
No.
can
Again,
fathom
we
it.
wouldn't be here without him.
No, 100%. Wow.
Damn.
Yeah,
Big rip.
big rip. There is no good way to end this
This
episode.
is where you
No.
cut in like sad music.
Yeah,
and
I
then-
mean, there have probably been
Sophie.
stuff from the Dragon Ball anime, like some of the more somber pieces playing under this episode rather than their main kind of music.
as we talk about like all the film upscaling stuff.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's more
I get
respectful.
it, yeah.
I don't know. Let's cut to one of the Dragon Ball endings. That's probably
Sure.
the best way to do it.
Sounds good.
Right.
Just cut to like the scream. The ah.
As Goku would say, "See ya."